Daybreak Africa is your one-stop top-notch breakfast show that brings you all the interesting stories happening in and around Africa.
Because we have all the morning essentials,
including the latest news, sports, weather, and events. And of course, the people.
Daybreak Africa on Television Nigerian.
Weekdays, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m.
It is another great and beautiful morning, and we'd like to say good morning to you and many thanks for joining us. This is Daybreak Africa on Television Nigeria. My name is Elvis Oga.
And my name is Messi Joe. Good morning, everyone. It's a new week, a new day, new look, new motivation. Yes. What's the motivation for today?
My motivation for today is just that I ended my week last week with something very important. I consider I was like silence in the face of injustice itself. So if you happen to witness any case of injustice out there, don't keep quiet, speak up.
All right. Well, my motivation for today and for the rest of the week is simply look beyond your situation. Like look beyond whatever it is that is happening to you right now. Everything will be fine. Everything will play out fine. Well, over the weekend, a lot of things happened. A lot happened. Ajibola Ajimobi, he was laid to rest.
Yeah, unfortunately, we lost
Sunday.
him.
We lost him on Thursday.
Last week.
It was a very sad one there of COVID-19 complications.
Yes.
And Ajimobi was a very great person. He was the governor of Oyo State for 8 years.
The immediate past governor of Oyo State.
And honestly, COVID-19 is really doing a lot in the world right now. People
a lot of damage and
a lot of damage. I can't try to imagine what the families are going through right now. Even there's a video of the wife lamenting about how the federal government, how the state government didn't come out to even like send their condolences, not condolences, like when he was ill in the hospital, they didn't reach out to her and she felt bad about it. Although the deputy governor said that they tried to reach out to her, called her twice and she didn't pick. And in her defense, I don't pick numbers that I'm not familiar with. But in still that light, I think probably if a text message was sent across, probably she would have seen it. Even if he doesn't see,
she actually made reference to it because I've listened to I've seen the video and actually read some of her speeches as well. When she was talking about, she was not even trying to say, okay, send me a message so that I will know that you were the person. But she was talking about so that people will know if she's telling the truth or not. Because she just said for the purpose of record, he would have sent a message. That's what because she said. In
her claim, she said the governor of Kano State, Ganduje, not just came. He said all these other persons, they reached out, even without. So my question is, were their own numbers saved in her phone, and then the deputy governor's number wasn't saved in her phone? Because how did they reach out? Well, let's take a look at the video of her lamentation.
I think the least anybody can do as a God-fearing person is at least to send me a word of encouragement at that time. And even after he died, not even do Mr. Deputy Governor, because my dead husband. You should have sent me a text message, sir. You can send a I don't have your number, I can't pick up. I'm the wife of a politician, I don't pick numbers I don't know. You can send me a message, sir. Your Excellency. You can send a message, sir. You can send a message. You can send a message. Everybody is going to die. My husband is dead. My husband is dead, and he started this.
You've seen for yourself a video of wife of late former your state governor, the person of Ajimobi, lamenting that the present state government governors rather did not really reach out to her.
Yeah.
And she was not asking for much, according to her, just a word of encouragement.
Yeah, and she actually also accused them of not granting them permission to bury the deceased in his house in Ajodi. But then the government, they came out to say that that particular property is still in the court following some dispute, so they can't actually grant that access for him to be buried there, although they granted access for him to be buried in another of his house. But then the first question I want to even ask here is this. Now, Lai Mohammed, who is the Minister of Information and Culture in the country, in the initial stage of coronavirus in the country, he said the bodies, that's the dead bodies of those who will have departed, would have departed of the coronavirus, automatically become the body of the federal government.
Yes.
First of all, in Abakari's funeral, that's what he said was contradicted. And here again, is playing out.
Exactly what I wanted to say. Like the same question popped up when we lost the former chief of staff to President Muhammadu Buhari, unfortunately, and then the question is popping up again.
Because this, and first of all, from the funeral, you can see, like she said, she was even saying, she said she expected her husband to be given a state burial. Now, looking at the circumstances, like the way he departed and all, ordinarily, no one is even meant to be close to the casket or even coming to the house for that moment. Do we even know if the house has been fumigated already? Because obviously he was in that house before he was taken to any hospital. Even his wife herself was in the hospital with him before she was released and confirmed free of not having the COVID-19. So why should it be that people are coming this cluster together to come for the funeral? I'm not saying it's not a good thing for them to pay their last respect, but then
to him.
Looking at the situation on ground, looking at how he died and everything, naturally, what the government said should be followed, whether it's a big elite or it's a little elite.
You know, there was something she said. This is more like a case of herself accusing the state government of playing politics with the death of her husband and all. But apart from that, and then she said she loves the man and she is here to always respect him and his wishes before he died, and she's going to see that, okay, that's exactly what she's doing, so she will allow the man to rest in peace. So what basically people are looking at the moment is the fact that if she's saying she wants to allow him to rest in peace, and then talking about not playing politics with the death of her husband, I think although it's quite okay that she come out to clear the air in some certain area of, or with gray areas and all, but I think they should just allow the whole matter rest and then allow him to rest in peace. Because if we want to look at it from the angle of, okay, expecting her husband to get a state burial, one may want to understand with her that maybe she's not talking about maybe that elaborate gathering or burial ceremony, as the case may be, but maybe the state taking responsibilities of some of the things. Maybe we might want to look at it from that angle. But
the thing is that if it was about responsibilities, probably she would have come out to say he's taking responsibility, like probably footing for the funeral arrangements or whatever it is.
I think this whole issue is actually generating concern, because she made mention of it in her lamentation that even though they belong to different political affiliations.
Yeah, exactly my point. Because that point came out on social media. People were like,
but
okay.
they never had a rift. She made reference to that, and also, but if not, we'll say maybe some questions needed to be asked, and then we find answers before we know how to lay this issue to rest and all. But for the sake of the deceased, I think we should just let him rest in peace.
May the soul of the departed rest in perfect peace.
Honestly, our heart is with the family, our heart is with the Oyo State government and everybody.
All right, COVID-19, well, we might as well just switch back to COVID-19 in proper. 490 new cases were confirmed yesterday from the NCDC of the state of coronavirus in the country. We have a total of 9,007 recoveries in the country. Total cases now 24,567. Deaths, sadly, 565 deaths. Now, I drew this calculation yesterday.
Okay.
81%. This is 81% versus 19%. 81% of the most active cases of coronavirus are situated in the south, according to statistics laid out yesterday, and then 19% are in the north. I find that quite contradicting.
Yes.
19% in the north. Should we say that the number of cases are underreported in the north? Because we had community transmission. We had how many persons that were now confirmed to have died of COVID-19 complications in Kano State. We have Katsina, who had the community outbreak of transmission. Then you now compare, you now say the south, west, southeast, they are the ones that have 81% of the most active cases. You know,
before one can actually ascertain the true number, the actual figures concerning COVID-19, there are a lot of things we need to take into considerations, like the number of tests that have been carried out, and then the number of tests that have been reported, and then the willingness of people to yield themselves to the test. We need to look at it, and then you may really not want to doubt the statistics to an extent. Before the president came to order the lockdown, recall that he ordered the lockdown in 3 states. 2 were from the southwest, and FCT was just the other one. And then there's this case, you were not around on Friday, right? And then myself and Victor, we talked about some of those things you just made mention of, that ordinarily, the way the cases started in Kano, we were actually afraid that, okay, it might really Kano might be overwhelmed, but like surprisingly, even when we had other cases recording over 100 a day, we now sometimes we don't even get to see Kano in the picture, and then we were asking, is it that the test they've actually ceased or withhold the carrying out of tests in Kano at the moment? Because
that same Kano State, I know of lots of places, even event centers that have been turned to isolation centers in Kano, mostly in the GRA, but probably because I know people there. And I'm asking this question. You know, there was a time that they came out to talk about the deaths now associated with COVID-19. Now, those deaths, 500 plus, has still not been added to the deaths. So when someone is saying about accuracy of statistics, I mean, we should start from the bottom so that probably it will be well understood. Now, there's still good news, however. Before it was 97% versus 3%. 97 active cases and still alive, and then 3% fatality. Now it has even increased. It's 98% active cases and alive versus 2% fatality cases.
That's actually good news.
Now,
to an extent.
Among this 24,567 total cases in the country, we have about 14,000 plus just being active.
And then about 9,000.
Are you getting the statistics now? So that's if it's now 14,000 versus 9,000, that means Nigeria has passed more than half of the total recoveries, and that is good news.
It's actually good news. There's something I came across concerning COVID-19 yesterday, which is actually quite worrisome, but it's very good that we're getting such information so that we prepare ourselves, and then we look at how we can actually avoid such situations. There was a report from a research by a particular school in the southwest that was talking about Nigeria is actually risking a case of other strands of COVID-19, because when there's community transmission, there's high possibility of virus mutation. So if there's mutation, we now get to see different strands of the virus, and then that's going to bring in more responsibilities on our hand, because maybe we're trying to get used to treating this particular strand, and then maybe if we have this particular gene of COVID-19 mutate and then come up with another strand, we now need to do another trial to see how we can manage that particular strand effectively. So where does that take us to? Back to adhering strictly to the guidelines that have been put in place. Because I'm seeing, even though we've seen a case of, okay, we had a quite increase or increment in the number of recoveries. And then
mostly for the month of June. June alone had 1,000 plus.
I'm just trying to imagine a situation where if we had actually taken those precautionary measures more seriously, initially from the beginning we were actually doing well. But from what is happening, most people have thrown caution to the wind. And we talk about going back to the drawing board and see that, okay, we just take good care of ourselves. And somebody was, from some quarters, people have been doubting the existence of COVID-19, but we keep talking about it. It is real. It's in place. And then some people say, okay, like we are over bloating or escalating the whole thing, more like creating panic or fear. But somebody asked a very vital question, Mr. May 11. He said, okay, let's just say, even though there's no COVID-19, does that mean we should not be hygienic?
Actually, and that being hygienic, lots of persons have actually learned from that, because people over time are not even cautious of when you come back from the market or you come back from anywhere, you wash your hands. These days, most of us, immediately you're getting home, you're always washing your hands immediately. At least you've learned one or two, and we should keep it that way. Actually, Empower.
Yes, another trending topic. And that's actually drawn in the Ministry of Humanitarian Service and Social Development for another time. Recall the last time that ministry was trending was the issue of homeschool feeding program.
And now it's out again. It's for the youth. It's the youth empowerment scheme for about 300,000 unemployed youths in the country. And that's an initiative from the President of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari, and that's a very applaudable one.
If you go through his manifestos when he was trying to come into office in 2015, there were a whole lot of other issues, a whole lot of problems of Nigeria that were actually drawn out or highlighted in his manifestos, and then Nigerians felt, okay, if we give this man a chance, we might really see that if he can carry out those, implement some of these manifestos, we could actually be heading towards light and all. And then we saw the last batch of Empower, and then so many people attest to the transparency of the scheme to an extent that everything had to be done online and everything.
This batch, see?
Even the first batch, and then it was actually meant to be for 1 year, but at the end of the day, we saw that, okay, they saw the need for them to be kept in the scheme for longer than that, and they stayed longer.
Just so we don't have too many unemployed youths
roaming the street and all. And then there's this particular thing about Empower that make it very interesting. It was not just an employment scheme, but it has to train you and then prepare you for employment, because one of the problems that has to do with unemployment in the country is unemployability of the populace itself, where they say that our institutions are churning out graduates that don't really have much to offer. I don't know if that would be attributed to the deteriorating nature of our institutions and all. But Empower now gives you that opportunity, more like what internship does to you. and prepare you for that work experience.
Yeah, so Empire is doing two things, two in one. It's empowering you as a youth so that you don't feel like you're idle, and then it's also preparing you for your future.
So that when you get a job opportunity and all. And then there are a whole lot of controversy surrounding this particular one. So many people came out and they were trying to say it's scam, the website has been hacked and all of that. But very interestingly, the federal government came out yesterday to say no, the site is very secure and everything is okay. And then after 48 hours of declaring the site open, over 1 million applications have been received.
When you told me that data, I was like, 1 million plus.
And then I think there's something I saw from the Minister of Humanitarian Services, and then where she was talking about the figures of the application received so far just depict how much Nigerians want to work, and then the trust and the confidence they have in the scheme, else they won't be applying for it.
True, that's very true, because data is very, you understand. Anyway, moving to entertainment.
Yes.
Well, BET Awards was held yesterday, virtual events. Talking about what COVID-19 is doing in the country.
You know, those few days of that day, you were a little bit under the weather. I didn't call myself and Victor. We talked about something like, was it with you when I was saying, somebody said the strongest part of a man is adaptation.
Okay.
We saw COVID-19 and we thought it was going to ground almost everything, but human beings came out with so many thought out of the box, and then we see that we're trying to do things differently just to be able to carry ourselves and manage ourselves in situations like this.
I mean, we see even reality TV shows like Big Brother Nigeria, they had to do their auditions online. So lots of things are happening online now. BET, I mean, Burna Boy and our own very own Rema, when they were nominated, and Burna Boy won his own category, and that was
Best International Act. And then when you see the kind of people that were in that categories with him, other non-nominees, people from UK and other places, that's to tell you that when it comes to entertainment, we're on point.
And we're on point.
we are really on point. You know, BET Award is one event that we all look for, and in case you don't know, it actually has to do with Africa a lot. That's Black Entertainment Television, BET, and then the award. I think that's one event that actually garner much attention, that tends to become the signature of all eyes after Grammy Awards.
Yeah, I think they gave tribute, respect, condolence, respect to the late Kobe Bryant.
Kobe Bryant.
Yeah, Kobe Bryant. And they also gave this honorary award to Beyonce. Yes, and that was good. BET, good. Although, anyhow.
I don't know how come I actually missed that yesterday, because it's one event I always look out for.
Exactly what I was about to tell you.
Even though some of us cannot really fly to South Africa.
Yeah, but we always look forward to watch it.
Because of the COVID-19 and other exigencies and all, but we were actually meant to follow yesterday, but on Sunday, you know how it is around here. So
all right, I know we have a lot to talk about that happened during the weekend, so probably offset we talk about what happened through the weekend. But for now, let's go across Africa and see what they have for us.
Welcome to News Across Africa on Daybreak Africa. Thousands of Burundians on Friday lined the road to the capital Gitega as the body of former President Pierre Nkurunziza was escorted under heavy security for a state funeral after his sudden death earlier this month. Nkurunziza, who was president for 15 years, died at the age of 55 of what government said was heart failure. Tanzania's former president Jakaya Kikwete and the current prime minister, as well as Zambia's first lady, were among thousands of people present at Friday's ceremony. The funeral proper took place at the Ingoma Stadium in the capital Gitega, the same venue where the new president was sworn in last week. President Evariste Ndayishimiye and top government and ruling party officials were in attendance. The funeral ceremonies began with the paying of last respects from his wife, Denise Bukumi Nkurunziza, his children and close associates in an intimate gathering at the hospital in the central city of Karuzi, where he died on June 8. Nkurunziza will be interred in the Gitega in a special mausoleum that was built in the 2 weeks since he died. Now, Senegalese final year students have resumed classes under strict instructions as the country battles COVID-19. They are expected to wear face masks and respect social distance measures. The reopening involves over 500,000 students out of the 3.5 million children instructed to stay at home by the government. The schools have intensified their efforts to ensure the safety of the students by checking their temperatures before entry and a compulsory hand washing practice.
We are not worried at all because we revised very well at home. You know, we stayed at home for nearly 4 months. So this time is for more revision on what we have already been taught. And we are very happy that we are back in school. A few months ago, we are going to focus on revising the topics we have taught them. We will also engage them in several exercises as well. So I believe in no time they will be ready for the examination.
Senegal has recorded over 6,000 cases of coronavirus to date, with 94 deaths. Cases continue to increase, and President Macky Sall this week was quarantined after coming in contact with an infected person, although he has tested negative for COVID-19, reports say. The Italian foreign minister arrived in the Libyan capital Wednesday, where he met with Tripoli-based Prime Minister Fayez Sarraj to discuss the Libyan internal conflict and migration agreement. According to a statement from Sarraj's office, the two leaders both rejected the negative foreign interference in the oil-rich country. Earlier this week, the mayor said a ceasefire is urgent given the Egyptian threat and called for the strong enforcement of the arms embargo.
I brought forward with Prime Minister Sarraj our concerns about military operations to liberate Sirte that could lead to renewed fighting and more civilian casualties. At the same time, I stated how essential it is to avoid a freezing of the conflict.
The Libyan leader also presented a proposal to modify the 2017 Memorandum of Understanding on Migration that was rearranged by Italy and presented to the Libyan counterparts in February. Madagascar celebrated its 60th independence anniversary from France with a series of activities across the country on Friday. The island nation gained its independence on the 26th of June 1960. Elaborate commemorative ceremonies were led by President André Rajoelina, with a grand parade held at the Independence Avenue where thousands lined the streets as the president was driven by in an antiquated Cadillac. Events are ongoing despite the COVID-19 crisis, with most security officials and other participants wearing masks. Despite the exuding joy of freedom, for some it's memories of the scars of pain and agony suffered under colonial masters, a pain that echoes even among today's generations.
Every morning they would make us go up the hill. Senegalese riflemen with the French kept guard and whipped us like we were donkeys pulling a cart. They made us walk on rough grounds, coming and going. It tore our skin. I still have scars on my knees and back, even today.
1947 marked the start of the near 2-year Malagasy uprising, which claimed nearly 100,000 citizens. Some were killed and others perished of hunger and cold after fleeing into the forest. Madagascar is among the first to revolt against colonial masters in 1947 in Africa, freedom only came 13 years after. The Congolese Health Minister Etienne Longondo on Thursday officially proclaimed the end of the Ebola epidemic in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, the second most serious since the discovery of the virus in 1976. Declared on 1 August 2018, the 10th epidemic of hemorrhagic fever on Congolese soil has killed 2,277 people, said the Minister of Health, who spoke of the epidemic, the longest, most complex and deadliest in the country's history. Only the epidemic in the West Africa in 2013 to 2016 had claimed more victims. But Thursday's milestone announced in the east of the country was overshadowed by the enormous health challenges still facing the East African nation, the world's largest measles epidemic, the rising threat of COVID-19, and another new Ebola outbreak in the north. Despite effective vaccines and treatment that dramatically boosted survival rates when administered early, the outbreak dragged on as first responders struggled to gain access to virus hotspots in Congo's restive eastern borderlands. As the outbreak neared its end, another one was declared on June 1 in the western city of Mbandaka, more than 1,000 kilometers away. Genetic testing revealed the two epidemics were not connected. The World Health Organization announcement initially was set for April, but another case emerged just 3 days before the Ebola-free declaration was expected. That restarted the 42-day period required before such a proclamation can be made. And that is the much we have for you on News Across Africa. Daybreak Africa continues shortly.
All right, welcome back. You just listened to Across Africa right there. We told you all about updated information and the very best of entertainment. It's still Daybreak Africa on television Nigeria. But I'll take you to our newspaper review segment where we take a look at headlines from some of the national daily. But before then, I think Message has a package for us.
Yes, we have introduced a new package, the Daybreak Africa, here on television Nigeria. We'll be asking a very quick question, and the winner will be announced tomorrow. But then on our comment section, you can answer to this question. And the question is, how many lungs does the human body have? How many lungs does the human body have? Well, you can drop your answers in our comment section, and tomorrow we'll announce the winner.
True. I think this is the perfect kind of situation that Nigerians want to see inside life. Like you are medically inclined, we should be asking you this question, but
no, I won't give you the
funny
answer.
Funny enough, you are the one asking others.
I'm asking you, but I know the answer, and I want to see what your response will be, and we'll check that out in the comment section, and then we'll announce the winner tomorrow.
So just keep your answers rolling in. Meanwhile, let's take a quick look at what the papers has for us this morning. The first one we want to look at is the Guardian newspaper, and from the Guardian newspaper, we have this banner headline: Nigerians pay 152 billion naira tuition in UK. Wow, that's big money, and that's talking about people who go for studies abroad. You recall that we actually made reference to our institutions churning out unemployable graduate and all. But I think for the statistics to be out, something must be cooking.
But I think we have institutions here in Nigeria that still pay close to that amount as their fees.
You know, if we want to talk about this issue, we will not be able to exhaust it, because you will not look at it from, if you present your certificate from those institutions and somebody who's school abroad come back and present this certificate
to an organization, which would they
the same
pick
organization first? Do you think they treat all of you equally?
All right,
below that we have, as COVID-19 flattens Naira, parents pay more. Students reject local varsities despite high tuition. Below that, you have the picture story here that's still about a flood in some areas. And then below that, we have death surge as doctors feud over COVID-19 pre-admission status. You can pick a copy of the Guardian newspaper to get the details of these stories and even more.
All right, let's take a look at the Punch newspaper this morning. The big headline here: APC caretaker panel meets today to set up convention committees. Apologize to Nigerians for holding NEC meeting in Federal Exco Council chamber. You can't dictate to Buhari where to hold meetings. Presidency replies PDP others. Well, there's a picture story here of the late Ajimobi being laid to rest. Below the picture nameplate, INEC lists tough conditions for campaign rallies in Edo, Ondo. That's on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. Beside that, Okada men stone Lagos businessman to death for hitting partially sighted man.
Another case of jungle justice.
Why? That's a very sad one. I thought we had gone past jungle justice. That's on page 4 and 5 of the Punch newspaper. Still beside that, Ekiti Assembly denies colluding with Ojodu against Fayemi. That's on page 9 of the Punch newspaper. And above that, above the nameplate, Aviation Onyema 6 bailout says airfares will rise. That's on page 26. And we have lots of stories there on the front newspaper of the Punch newspaper, so you might want to get a hold of the newspaper to...
You know, the Punch seems to actually punch it real hard this morning. Because talking about the aviation there, I saw that they actually conducted some kind of a dry run flight at the Abuja airport over the weekend, and somebody was asking, if only the airport is open, where are they flying to? And I was like, logically you're supposed to know that other ones will subsequently be open to domestic flights and all. And
talking about progress, I think they released flyers to see how they're going to adhere to all the guidelines. You must be on your mask before you come into the airport. And lots of things.
You have to arrive like 3 hours to your flight time and all. I saw all of that.
It was well structured,
True. And then we also, you also talked about the back and forth comment over the venue of the NEC meeting of the
Yes.
last time. I actually saw a rejoinder from, was it Garba Shehu or Femi Adesina, that said the meeting was not held at the Federal Executive Council chamber, and then this paper reporting that they cannot dictate where Buhari holds meeting. But we're trying to look at how sensitive the issue is. We know in Nigeria we tend to read meanings to everything, where, okay, it's because it's the president, and then if the party decide to use what is meant for the Nigerians and all of that, we might tend to see comments like this and all. So, I don't know.
All right, that's it for the Punch newspaper.
Okay, let's take a look at the Nation newspaper, and below the nameplate we have this headline: Leaders bid Ajimobi farewell, or your government unfair to him. Who is saying that? Pick a copy of the Nation to find out. That story can be found on the page 2 of the Nation newspaper. Beside that, Ohaneze protest as splinter group springs up. You can find out on the page 5 of the Nation newspaper. And then we also have something about business here. Investors strike 360 billion naira deals in virtual trading. It's Man U versus Chelsea, Arsenal versus Man City. You can look that on the page 5, talking about the FA Cup, and then Man U up against Chelsea. It's one match that Nigerian fans want to see. Even though from the UK football scene, they are not really rivals. They are not city rivals, they are not trophy rivals, but
even if
fans,
even if I can relate, no problem.
I think I'll be dragging you in from time to time. All right, the banner headline from the Nation newspaper is saying, Power consumers, man, kick over 100% tariff hike. That is Manufacturers Association of Nigeria. And the new electricity price regime takes effect from Wednesday. What's the regime like? Pick a copy of the Nation newspaper to find out. And then below the picture story, petrol price fully deregulated. I think I saw that earlier from PPPRA, and they're saying they will likely no longer fix prices, but they say they will be doing weekly or monthly review. Just pick a copy of the Nation newspaper to get the details of the stories and even more.
All right, moving forward, let's take a look at the Daily Sun newspaper this morning. The big headline here: COVID-19 will make 96 million Nigerians extremely poor by 2022. That's coming from the World Bank. That's going to be a very sad 96
I would love
million.
a situation where the MBS will actually do their own checks too and see what they can say about
they
this
don't
as
know,
well.
because it looks like prophecy.
96 million.
96
that's
million.
A whole number out of 200 million.
That's plenty. Anyway, below the picture nameplate, Ajimobi's widow slams Makinde deputy for lack of empathy. That's on page 28. Still below that, you refuse to pick your cause, deputy governor. Ex-Oyo governor buried, governors, others pay tribute. That's the last tribute to the man. Below that, Ondo Assembly may impeach deputy governor this week. You can read that on page 6 of the Daily Sun newspaper. Beside that, Kogi CJ Enugu judge die of COVID-19. Very sad.
You know, when we were talking about the death of unfortunate demise of Ajimobi, you were actually talking about how much havoc coronavirus has actually caused. We see more confirmation.
It's ravaging the earth. Well, I'll take this last headline here. Buhari faces lawsuit over 22.7 billion naira loan. $22.7 billion loan. Southeast indigents fight over exclusion. Well, that's on page 8 of the Daily Sun newspaper. So you might want to get a copy of the Daily Sun newspaper this morning so you can get full insight on the whole gist.
There's a story that actually looks like that from another part, was that southwest of somewhere last week as well.
Really?
Yeah.
And still coming today is Monday. Exclusion. Yes, I think they are.
Remember, right?
Yes, I'm trying to figure out that particular story. We'll figure out that out after the program.
All right, let's take a look at Daily Times, and then from the Daily Times beside the nameplate, we have this story talking about RTEA appealing to federal government and state to review interstate travel ban. You know, ordinarily we might actually be lending our voice to actually plight like this, but with the recent spike in the cases of COVID-19, you might not really know where to actually place your voice or your thought. because we really need to be very careful with every decision we have to
take right now.
Yeah. All right. We have the screamer headline here that says presidency to critics. APC NEC meeting was via video conference. Says no law barred Buhari from holding meetings in certain sections of presidential villa. Ruling party chides PDP over attack on president for hosting NEC meeting. All of that can be found on page 2 of the Daily Times. All right, beside that, and then starting below that, Bayelsa monarchs applaud Buhari over NDDC forensic audit. You remember that story where there were actually some allegation of brazen corruption in the sector, and then Buhari has ordered forensic audit to see how actually they fare with the finances of that.
Exactly. If that's what we need to get out, then let it be out. All
right, we still take some few more headlines. You can actually check that particular story out on the page 8 of the Daily Times, and then below that, Anambra NMA moves to improve cancer treatment research. NUT kicks against hasty reopening of schools in Niger. That is Nigerian Union of Teachers. And then Polio Communications appoint Julius Eto as Daily Times editor. All right, I don't think that I think there's a little mix-up from the typos here, but you can actually check that story out on the page 3. And then below the picture story, which happens to be about the burial of Ajimobi, we have only qualified teachers will teach in Borno. That is coming from Governor Zulum. You remember when we were talking about his love for educational sector?
Yes, and
some of those infrastructure he put in place. And then when he went to school very early in the morning some days, and he met a woman and then decided to promote the woman.
And he was very happy about the way she was devoted to being there.
All right, still on the page 2 of the Daily Times, COVID donate 150 bed isolation facility to Lagos. When I say on the page 2, I mean the story is on the front page, but you can read that on the page 2 of the publication. And then Lautech resident doctors begin 5-day warning strike today. Pick a copy of the Daily Times to check out the details of these stories. We just brought you away and even more.
All right, let's take a look at the Business Day newspaper this morning. The big headline here: these 4 charts show why Nigerian refineries are in sorry state. Okay, and I'll take this other story here inside. 1.72 trillion naira after Nigeria bids farewell to electricity subsidy. Wow. Finally. That's on page 26 of the Business Day newspaper, and that's it for the Business Day newspaper this morning.
I think that actually sum it up for the newspaper review segment. And,
all right.
We take you to our next package, which is
Healthy Living. Let's go to the health desk and see what they have for us this morning on Healthy Living. What am I looking for?
Welcome to our Healthy Living segment. Today we'll be talking about food allergies. Food allergies are an unpleasant or a dangerous immune system reaction after a certain food is eaten. Your immune system overreacts by producing antibodies called immunoglobulin E. These antibodies travel to cells that release chemicals, causing an allergic reaction. This reaction usually causes symptoms in the nose, lungs, throat, sinuses, ears, lining of the stomach, or the skin. The cause of food allergies is unknown, but in some cases, allergies experienced during childhood may resolve in adulthood. Symptoms of a reaction can include digestive problems, hives, or swollen airways. Severe reactions can be life-threatening. Now, food sensitivity and intolerance, on the other hand, trigger reactions in the body's digestive system and are not potentially life-threatening. Symptoms may include bloating, gas, diarrhea, constipation, cramping, and/or nausea. The most common food allergy signs and symptoms include tingling or itching in the mouth, hives, itching or eczema, swelling of the lips, face, tongue, and throat or other parts of the body, wheezing, nasal congestion, or trouble breathing, abdominal pain, diarrhea, nausea, or vomiting, dizziness, lightheadedness, or fainting. Now, what are the 4 types of allergic reactions? Type 1. Immediate hypersensitivity. These allergic reactions are systemic or localized, as in allergic dermatitis, for instance, hives, will, and erythema reactions. Type 2. Cytotoxic reaction, that is antibody dependent. Type 3. Immune complex reaction. And type 4. Cell-mediated, that is delayed hypersensitivity. Common foods that trigger allergies include milk, eggs, fish, crustaceans, shellfish such as crab, lobster, and shrimp. Tree nuts such as almonds, walnuts, and pecans. Peanuts, wheat and other grains with gluten such as barley, rye, and oats. Also, soya beans. Unfortunately, food allergies cannot be cured, and only awareness of symptoms and subsequent avoidance of certain foods can help eliminate the risk. Well, that is all on today's healthy living. Get to know your body and remember to eat healthy. Remember, most importantly, that a healthy body is a healthy life.
What an interesting one right there from our health desk that talk about food allergies, signs and symptoms.
Yeah,
I've been trying to remember any food I've been allergic to, but I can't really remember. But I know that I'm allergic to some kind of spray or body spray and all, but that's not what they talked about today.
Well, I just know about I'm allergic to this particular drug I'm allergic to. Okay. That's all I know. And then talking about for food, some people are lactose intolerant.
Yes.
You understand? All this dairy, milk, eggs, and what have you. Mostly sickle cell patients. There are some foods that they are automatically allergic to, most especially fried egg. I know that one.
So when you talk about the allergy to lactose food and all of that, how do the signs or the symptoms come? Stomach ache, frequent stooling.
They throw up. Okay. You may throw up, and then you may have running stomach, and then constipation, indigestion. It happens. Food
allergy is one trickish thing that if you don't really take note of it, you might not really know what's wrong with you. Especially look at the signs that they were giving: swollen face, swollen tongue, swollen lips.
If you're very fat, some people start turning red automatically on their face.
Spots on your face.
Yes, it can bring out different things. The thing is that most people don't know what they're allergic to, and they keep eating it.
To the extent, that's why I say it's very tricky and very tricky. And then I saw to the extent of even eczema could be an allergy sign or symptoms.
I know someone who is allergic to eating egusi soup. As his own food allergy, and anytime the person eats egusi soup, toilet is the second name. I'm telling you, and the problem is that when you anyway, egusi soup, lots of things.
I thought you wanted to take us on a crash course. I'm just saying.
All right, I still said something. We have a question for the day. How many lungs
does the human body have?
Does the human body have? We need you to drop your comments.
Every time this question pops up, something in my mind.
False information about the coronavirus. These are the facts. People of all ages can be affected by the coronavirus. However, older people and people with pre-existing medical conditions such as asthma, diabetes, heart diseases are more vulnerable to the disease. It is not for old people alone. Gargling salt and warm water or chewing garlic and ginger cannot prevent the virus. Drinking alcohol, hot lemon, palm oil or chloroquine will not kill the virus. The virus cannot be transmitted through mosquito bites. Antibiotics do not work against the viruses. Antibiotics work only against bacteria. Boiling pineapple peels, lime, and ginger does not kill the virus. Putting raw onions in rooms will not ward off the virus. Using or spraying Dettol, special oils, and water all over your body cannot kill the virus. There is no scientific evidence that cooking, drinking, or eating any of these is an effective treatment for coronavirus. Do not self-medicate and take responsibility by sharing only verified messages from health authorities such as NCDC, Federal Ministry of Health, and WHO.
All right, welcome back. In case you're just joining us, this is still Daybreak Africa on television, Nigeria. Before we went on the break, we were talking about a question for the day. How many lungs does the human body possess? Hey, that possess sounded like... Anyway, how many lungs does the human body have? Okay. Drop your comments on the comments section for us.
Okay, it has been a very beautiful ride, and unfortunately, we just have to call it quit here. That is to say, that is the much we can take on today's edition of Daybreak Africa on television Nigeria. I'd like to say a very big thank you for riding with us on the show. Let's do this again tomorrow, same time, same place. My name is Elvis Oga.
And my name is Mercy Joe. Many thanks for watching us this morning. To stay safe, COVID-19 is still out there. Let's pay attention to all the necessary guidelines and we'll be fine. Remember, our question for the day is, how many lungs does the human body have? Please kindly drop your comments on the comment section for us, and do have a nice day.
Importantly, up next is Business Daily with Chiwendo.
It's another beautiful day, and we are currently at Paduma 3, a community found in Asokoro, close to the seat of power. We all know when light, water, good road, security, and good healthcare is taken away, life becomes uncomfortable for everyone. And these are one of the challenges being faced in this community. Come along with me as we interact with the residents of this community.
Actually, you can see by yourself the community lack of electricity. Although the contract has been awarded since last year, which